Shady business, smelling funky.
Follow the money. Does anybody remember this little gem?
Did you say free fries when you get vaccinated?
I actually, when I first saw this, like originally, I thought it was a Saturday Night Live skit. No, it's real.
Wait a minute. But there's also a burger element to this.
Really?
Just think of this when you think of vaccination. Vaccination. I'm getting a very good feeling.
Are you? I'm getting a different feeling.
Right this moment.
Yeah, no. In fairness, they also offered free Krispy Kreme donuts because nothing says boost your immune system like deep fried seed oils. I mean, look at this. Did you hear hamburger and you were a little tempted? Say welcome in, folks. Welcome back to Faithful Legacy. So what happened exactly to the medical system? Would you be shocked to know that a lot of things that are seen as crunchy today, holistic and crunchy, were actually the norm in hospitals not that long ago? Things like light therapy, fresh air, I know, it's a novel idea, copper cups, homeopathy, they would burn herbs in a big bowl in the middle of the room, linen sheets, things like feeding them nourishing broths. So what happened? How did we go from that to what we see today? I want to say that two things can be true at the same time. So we can be very grateful for some of the advancements of modern medicine, so far as certain diagnostics, certain surgical advancements, certain emergency medicine, and also acknowledge the fact that something went terribly wrong at some point. You can register advancements in things like maybe sterilization, and also register the fact that there are some very, what I would consider extremely unhealthy practices going on in the medical system today that I feel are incredibly destructive. We have to be able to come to terms with the fact that something is very, very wrong. When you read the list of ingredients on the food in a hospital cafeteria, when young children are having things go on with them in mass amounts that we have never seen before, something is very, very wrong. When we are in buildings or we are trying to get well, where you can't even crack a window and get fresh air, something is very wrong. When we have medical experts during, I don't know, world events where our immune systems might be under attack from something, telling people not to breathe fresh air, telling people not to go outside or to the park, something is very, very wrong. When we are going around trying to convince people that things like sea salt, eggs, red meat, butter, sunlight, and fresh air are the dangerous things, when we have little boys sitting in institutions for 8 hours a day and then homework on top of it, where they are sitting in a seat with 15 minutes of recess, very little air and sunlight, we are pouring high glycemic, sugar-laden, wheat-laden foods into the body in the morning, and then again at lunchtime. And we can throw in a little food coloring for extra behavioral problems, and then when they act out, we go, here, you need this, you have this problem, and you need this. And now we have a lifelong customer. When we start creating societal trends of convincing people of certain things so that we can go, here, this is what you need to create lifelong customers. We have to zoom out from some of our biases, from some of the programming that's been put in our heads, from political parties, all of that. We need to be able to zoom out and say, yeah, when I really sit with that, something's not quite right. If I start following the money trail, something's not quite right. So we're going to watch a few things today, but what I actually want you to walk away from this video with is actually a sense of empowerment. And if you think of your body like a garden, when the garden is given the proper elements, the garden flourishes. If the garden is given non-proper elements or poison is put on the garden's going to wither. One of our health friends, did you know how important healthy fats are? This is one of the things that I discovered many moons ago, and it has changed my life. Your brain, your body, your skin wants those healthy fats. It wants that liquid gold, friend. The butter, the olive oil, the tallow, the good stuff. I love me some grass-fed butter. I also use a lot of olive oil. Right now I use the Graza olive oil because they are a single sourced olive oil. Yes, people are cutting their olive oils today so that it's cheaper for them to produce. They're cutting it with lower quality oils and not even disclosing it to you. So Graza just uses olives from Spain. They have their drizzle, which I will take by the spoonful in the morning. Those are from the young olives, and then they have their sizzle and they have their frizzle. They have their classic squeeze bottles, which everybody loves, but they also now have their olive oil in glass with the cool pop-up spout. And so I love all of it. I have found that healthy fats make my skin glow. I call this one the Graza Glow. And I just do this in the morning. This is particularly delightful with mozzarella, tomatoes, and fresh herbs on top, a little bit of sea salt, and the drizzle oil. Chef's kiss, it's so good. And so if you're interested in trying Graza for yourself, or you want to give the gift that keeps on cooking this year, Graza has some beautiful new duo kit sets, and I will have the discount code and the link available for you in the description box and pinned in the comments below. And I want to thank Graza for sponsoring today's video. And I will tell you this, as many of you know, I've been on a long health journey, and endometriosis is a full body disease. And when I tell you that some of the things that have helped the most are things that you would think were just so benign and silly, things like the leaf of a blackberry bush, things like milk thistle or nettle, which are just quote unquote weeds that are growing on the side of the highway. God did not haphazardly put those things on the planet. He put them here because he loves us. But we've turned this system into like a god. We are so reliant on this. We've downplayed the things that God has put all around us to help our bodies heal. And it's not that it's wrong to go to this for things, but it's that we turn to this first out of fear. We go running to this. When it hits you that God purposefully constructed creation for humans, you realize the depths of love. How can every single element of this be random and abstract? Maybe there is a creator. Maybe he does love me. And if he loves me, maybe he wants to be close to me. And it starts to, the little ball of yarn, the thread starts to get pulled. So if they turn this system into a god that people run to for the answers, then we can distract people from the creator. And it's not that it has to be this or this, because God breathes his wisdom and revelation and understanding into a lot of doctors and nurses and people who invent things. But we just have to ask ourselves, why have we elevated this above God? And we put down the things that he's put all around us as if they are frivolous and silly and benign. Why do we do that? How much programming did it take in the last 150 years to create that system?
Who was John D. Rockefeller? How did he make his wealth and maintain it? And Rockefeller controlled the entire industry in a monopoly, and the U.S. government was his largest client. As a result, Rockefeller used his influence and money to lay the groundwork for a complete takeover of the healthcare industry as well. Using his political contacts, who were essentially on his payroll for their elections, he had natural healing methods banned, doctors thrown into prisons, and hospitals and clinics threatened with being shut down if they did not follow his game plan.
And it must be said that some of these people have had their grubby little fingers in a lot of our systems. So obviously there are powers that be that are trying to construct the world around us, what they want us to think and know.
In 1901, he established the Rockefeller Institute for Medical Research, now known as Rockefeller University, dedicated to advancing biomedical research, and was instrumental in pioneering various medical treatments, including vaccines, antibiotics, and synthetic drugs, which would become the cornerstones of the burgeoning pharmaceutical industry.
And just a little by the way, a lot of these royal families that exist on the planet today, they still use the old ways of medicine. Just a side note. They're not, if something happens to one of them, if you think that they're being subjected to a lot of the stuff that they subject us to, a lot of the cures, because the reality is that modern medicine can be good for some of those things we mentioned before, but as far as curative and preventative medicine, it's, you know. And if you want to watch this full 15, 16-minute video, I will link this below. And this is a good indicator when they start threatening people who are pushing against the system that they're building with, ruining their lives, putting them in prison. These are all good indicators that something's a little amiss.
Rockefeller spent $100 million of his own money, equal to $2.6 billion today, to hire, train, and then deploy his doctors, banning traditional treatments in favor of the new platform. In 1902, he spent another $1 million to fund the creation of the General Education Board, which was passed by Congress based upon selective and misleading data, which then proceeded to prevent medical colleges and universities from receiving federal grants if they did not abandon the teaching of natural healing. Rockefeller was a devotee of social Darwinism. He was an open racist. He agreed with the views of Margaret Sanger. The result was the Flexner Report of 1910, which called for a centralized system of controlling healthcare in a true socialist fashion, but also created the age of big pharmaceutical companies. You see, up until that time, most doctors practiced holistic medicine,
withholding money from anyone who did not get on board. Shocking.
Using natural herbs and compounds to treat illness, which had been the case for many centuries around the world, and many were highly effective. But they were not as profitable for a pharmaceutical company hoping to break into the very new and potentially profitable drug industry. He started the war on plant-based medications, which extended all the way into the big pharma companies.
These are godless people. Just keep that in mind before we start thinking that these people had our best in mind when they created these cures. These are godless people, threatening people, putting people in jail, withholding funding, trying to have all monopoly power over these industries. Just keep it in mind. These are the same people that'll put out smear campaigns against people who say, hey, maybe this natural thing might help, right? And you start making fun of them, and you start having all the news stations saying the same thing, trying to cancel and ruin anyone that would have a suggestion that is outside of this framework. So many of these skills that we have lost in the last few generations of understanding just even the basics of herbal medicine, the basics of how our bodies work. We are so disconnected, and so we've given our power over because we feel like, well, what do I know about my body? That should not be. Why have we handed all our power over to institutions that are pocketing millions and billions of dollars a year? It's not that we can never use these things, that they can't ever be good, but we need to take the accountability and responsibility to know our bodies and to know the basics about how God made it to work and the things that He has put here for us to have. It could be life-changing. And it could come very much in handy for maybe whatever is coming down the pipe. And by the way, the lower life expectancy of the past was more due to sanitation issues than it was to the medicine of the time, the holistic medicine of the time not working. Just remember that you getting better, if you are cured, if you are better, it is no longer making them money. Again, 28 years of battling some pretty crazy stuff, guys, health-wise. And I am grateful for when I need some over-the-counter medicine or when I need something. I'm grateful for it. I realized many moons ago that if I didn't learn my body and I didn't learn about these things, I actually don't know where I'd be. And I'm so grateful to God for his wisdom and his revelation. There have been some herbal things, just leaves from a berry plant that you would never think of twice, that have worked better for certain symptoms that I've had than any drug I was ever given. That's a real story, and I've seen that happen in the lives of other people. But we are so disempowered and we're made to feel crazy or stupid, like how could you possibly know? We've elevated the systems to godlike status. Why are we not running first to the one who actually created the cells of our body and looking to his wisdom and revelation, asking him, what do you want me to do first? Maybe it's a mix of these two things. Maybe it's something here. Maybe it's a little something here, but it's supported by this. Maybe it's getting something diagnosed with this equipment, but then it's using this remedy. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I know. It's like the story in the Bible where the woman was so sick and she went to all the doctors and spent all her money. And then one encounter with the living God, and she was healed. The whole point of that is that God is waiting for us to come to him. So I just want to encourage you in the days and the years to come, if you've given too much of your power away, if you've allowed other people to know more about your body than you do and how it operates and all of the things that God has put on the earth to fuel it. Guys, we are up against some stuff today that's never existed in the history of the world. There are toxins and things coming at us today that have never existed in the history of the world. I almost feel like it's more important than ever to understand some of this stuff, to know programming when you hear it, to understand the basics of how your body works, your detox pathways, just so that you can fight the good fight and have your life be as usable as possible. And hey, listen, the good news is that one day, as the Bible declares, that the kingdoms of this world will become the kingdoms of our God, and he will reign forever and ever. All things will be made right. All things will be made new. Hallelujah and glory to the King. If you are interested in any of my books, including The Lost Art of Living, so if these topics interest you and you're trying to express how you're feeling about everything that's going on and tap back into some of those old ways, my book, The Lost Art of Living, might be of interest to you. I also have my book, Redeeming Wealth and Becoming God's Daughter. My Amazon storefront's in the description box. I'll put that full, short, 15-minute documentary in there. My website with my blog, information on me, all the jazz and all the things. I appreciate you. You're beautiful. I want to thank you so much, as always, for taking the time today to spend a little piece of it here with me. I love you, and Lord willing, I will see each and every one of you beautiful and precious souls right here on the next one. Bye, friends.